What are your thoughts on bands playing with backing tracks? When does it work / not work? And that is from I Horseshoehan.
Good reading of the name, I Horseshoehan. I love this question because this is one of those questions that pop up where a lot of people don't like things like backing tracks because it's not 100% live. It's the same thing as auto-tune and a bunch of other things. But let me tell you a story, okay? I left Swansea, came to England. That makes it sound like I came in a boat. I didn't. I came in a car. But I moved to England when I was a kid. I didn't have rich parents. I went to music college. There was only one way I could fund it because I have no qualifications. The only one way I could figure out how to fund it was music. That was it. And the way I funded my way through college was myself and a guitarist singer, and we would go out and do these duo gigs in pubs, social clubs, working men's clubs. We'd be playing 3 to 5 times a week. We did ferries, like Dover to Calais, England to France, ferries backwards and forwards where we do every weekend, and we'd be performing for 6 or 7 hours a day for 3 days, just to keep our heads above water so we could afford to actually live. If I'd have put together a 5-piece band, and I'm talking covers, but I'll come on to originals. If I had put a 5-piece band together at that time, I wouldn't have been able to sustain it because I wouldn't have been able to get the gigs because we were looking at small pubs, small clubs, small budgets, probably 150 quid a night where we get 70 quid each at the time for playing 2 to 3 hours. If you then look at also the original side of this, if you're going to take something on tour, every time you add in a member of a band, it gets expensive. And so if you look at, I went to see Keith Urban the other day. He's a country guitarist, phenomenal guy. He's one of those kind of legends. And there were 5 guys in his band, and every one of them could sing lead as well as Keith Urban, like phenomenal. And they all had these like little solo pieces where they play some guitar and sing. They were phenomenal. Why is that? Because you can't afford to take 2 backing vocalists on tour, so therefore everyone sings. It's just a prerequisite. Then you've got the bass player who stood on stage and he's playing keyboards. Then the guitarist stood behind playing some keyboards, some percussion and some guitar. Because taking people on tour now is expensive. It's very different to what it used to be. Petrol, expensive. Hiring gear, expensive. Staying in hotel rooms, expensive. Hiring venues, expensive. So therefore, cutting costs becomes important. But you don't want to compromise on the show. You want to give people the best show they can possibly get. So why not start to thinking about how you can not cut corners, but how you can cut costs, but at the same point keep the show absolutely amazing. And if you're looking at your band going, we can't sing, like we've got 4 people in a band, 1 person sings, the other people tone deaf. Is it that bad to have a little bit of BVs on there to help? Is it that bad to have that extra little bit of guitar to really tighten things up? Or if you can't find the keyboard players, because let's face it, keyboard players are difficult to actually keep on tour. Is it that bad to have a little bit of keyboards in the back with your drum playing to a click? I don't think so. I think it just adds to the overall sound. Is it for everybody? No. But for me, I would always be looking at, and this is the same thing with social media, what is the crowd getting out of this? And I want the crowd to leave going, oh, it's the best gig ever. So therefore, it has to sound and be amazing. And therefore, backing tracks can make that happen. They can take a little bit of the live stuff out of it if everyone's playing to a click, but really good musicians will be able to add in the creativity and the energy at the same point as playing along to a click. So for me, I'm a big fan of this, but I think that story for me is not only did I pay my way through college, but I did that for years, and it was how I got good, because if you can imagine it, this is back in the day, a long time ago, this is back in the day where we didn't play 2 45s or 2 60-minute sets. We played 3 hours. And we'd have a 10-minute break in between, but we'd play for 3 hours a night. You do that 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a week. I'm playing to a drum machine, effectively, because we had a guitarist, a bass player, and a singer with BVs, playing to a drum machine 3 or 4 hours a night live. What do you think that does to your playing? It made me a fucking machine. No, really, I am that good. But yeah, that's what it does. And so backing tracks can enhance, but they also are a necessity sometimes. So for me, I have nothing against backing tracks. I don't think they take away from anything. I think they are a tool that can be used to enhance the product.